Let me hear something, Nico.
All right, so this is the E30 M3 that we're doing the undercarriage restoration on. This car was actually pretty rough in the undercarriage. Somebody had like sprayed undercoat and then they kept laying it on, and it was actually really difficult to get the undercoat, all the undercoat off. So we completely stripped it as best we could, seam sealed wherever we needed, shot our rock guard that we use, and then we sprayed this tan color, which is basically what the factory would be. And then we undercoat the wheel wells with just regular black rock guard. We powder coat all the factory lines, the brake lines, the fuel lines, the evap line, as long as they're salvageable. This particular car, some of the lines were too far gone, so we went ahead and replaced them. New hardware wherever we can. Some of this hardware isn't available or it's back ordered, so we reconditioned some of it, replace what we can. The gas tank in this car was really, really bad. Fortunately, I had saved this one from a car that was scrapped, but the gas tank was in really good condition. So I personally dislike the aftermarket fuel tanks, or even some of the new BMW units are a little different. And same with the brake lines. If you order these brake lines and fuel lines from the dealer now, the finish on them isn't what it would have come with stock. So I prefer to recondition the original ones, just so they can stay as original as possible. And obviously you can see we clean, restore everything as if it was coming out of the factory. This one got a new trans tunnel firewall pad, powder coated subframe. We cleaned up the steering rack really well, new tie rods, cleaned up his control arms are still in good condition. So we just cleaned them up. This car is getting ground control coilovers, so this one has our modified strut tubes, which we shorten about an inch, 1.25 inches. Gives it that extra strut travel while being able to lower it to the desired height. And we put Ireland Engineering big brake kit front and rear. It's a 6-piston front, 4-piston rear. Customer chose red, so that's what we're going with. But yeah, everything gets pretty much redone on the bottom. Powder coated subframes. Our choice of bushing are AKG subframe trailing armor diff bushings, which this car has. We reconditioned all of the parking brake hardware, replace anything that is not salvageable. I typically send the hubs out to get CAD plated as well, just so that they're not all rusty. These don't come coated from the factory, and we'll still clean this up to make the hub surface 100%. You have to cut the dust shields for the big brake kit, which we've already done. And if you come on this side, you can see that the big brake kit's already installed. So the diameter of the rotor is much larger than the factory, so which is why you have to modify the dust shield. But this has new bearings, new parking brake shoes. All the evap hoses, everything's been replaced. All the wiring will be reconditioned. Because the big brake kit doesn't have the brake wear sensor, we eliminate it. So we would just bypass this, pull the wiring into the vehicle so that we don't cut it. And if the customer ever wants to go back to stock, he can. New parking brake shoes. It's gonna get all new stainless steel brake lines. The trailing arms have been reinforced. And then any piece of hardware that's metal that would typically be black or gray gets removed, powder coated, and reinstalled. And then the wiring gets all redone, so if you want to see here. So it just gets fabric taped. We remove everything. Same with the ABS unit. All the lines get removed, all the lines get powder coated. And the next for this car, the fuel system, the brake system, the suspension's pretty much all done. We've got to install the differential, the axles, And then we install the engine. So what a lot of people don't see when doing these custom setups is a lot, like especially to modify headers or manifolds. There's a lot of on and off, back and forth redundancy to get it just right. Sometimes we find ourselves pulling manifolds off, 15, 20, 30 times just to get it just right. Especially me, I'm a little bit more meticulous that if I can make it better, even though I just spent half an hour making it fit the way I wanted, like I will break it apart and start all over just to make sure that I'm completely satisfied.
1 hour later.
What? For what? I only cut it because I needed the space.
Stretch it.
I'm gonna stretch it, not cut it.
Okay, that's it. I'm happy. I said
Stretch this one slowly
to this.
and make it button like that. Doesn't need to be super straight because I'm gonna modify it anyways. So this is Henri. He's gonna be the end of me. If something ever happens to me, look for this man. Now you should be wearing safety glasses to do this, and earmuffs and all that, but pop off the collector so we can stretch it because we're gonna go a little bit bigger. These were 2.5, we're going 2 3/4. So we needed to expand the pipe a little bit. So I'm just gonna tack weld it back together so we can install it. Okay, this is something that I never would personally do. This is a M4 titanium exhaust that, these are super common, they crack. Somebody MIG welded, like mild steel MIG welded the cracks. Clearly it didn't work. Like they literally just come off like doo-doo. So this will never be perfect. By any means, this is gonna turn out like crap. But instead of me trying to fix it all in here, I'm just gonna make these 2 plates, weld around it, and try to salvage this muffler. These mufflers are like 3 to 5 grand used. I don't even know how much they are new. But I'm just doing this for a friend of mine. He knows it's not gonna be pretty, but this is titanium sheet, and we're just gonna cut it out, weld it, do a patch job. Again, not guaranteeing that it's gonna work, but it'll be better than that.